was a little bit better. A little bit better.
Was it? That sounded terrible. I missed my hand completely.
How did you fuck up clapping?
I'm looking at a clock and not my hands.
Oh my god.
The people used to look at this big motherfucker and go, do you play b-ball?
And we have an episode title. Perfect. Love it. Okay. It is Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 20 of Bliss Point, a music curation and conversations podcast serving up music discussion, news, show and album reviews, and more. Check us out at bliss.house, that is bliss.haus. We have a playlist going up alongside this episode that'll have a lot of goodies in there for you. My name is Jordan Kaufman, and I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts, Billy Gatewood.
Hey there.
And Paul Kolb.
Oh, hi.
And I'm realizing just now that I completely forgot to intro last episode, but whatever, it's fine. People know who we are at this point. And we're going to jump right into the best singles we've ever heard. And my single is by a band called Into It Over It. It's a new track out called We Prefer Indoors. Into It Over It has their first album coming out in 4 years. I'm very excited. Into It Over It got me on the emo kick that I'm still on a long time ago. So I'm very excited to hear what Evan has in store. His guitar songwriting is just so good, and I love his voice. The production on this is pretty bare bones, so it has me a little weary. It sounds like he's kind of taking a step backwards in terms of quality. So I don't know if he's, going back to bedroom recording or what. But in any case, I'm very, very excited to hear a new album. So.
Yeah, I was actually pretty into this. I'm not super into It Over It, but I heard this and got me pretty excited for the album.
Sweet. Yeah, I don't know if I've waxed poetic about him before to literally everyone I know because I love him. So I'm surprised I haven't reached you with the gospel yet.
I
think you would like him a lot if you haven't listened to his stuff before.
I thought you just really agreed with the album title or the track name.
That too.
Amen. Amen.
All right, Billy.
All right. Yeah. So if you don't know who Sasha Sloan is, I'd recommend you get familiar with her. She is insanely talented. She's an insanely talented songwriter and professional, just sad girl lyricist. All my favorite things. Lie is her first single from her upcoming debut album. It's just a brutally honest portrayal of being in denial during a relationship. It's just, I don't know. I love the production. I love the lyrics on it. It just flows really well. I'm super into this song. And when she's not writing all these sad girl anthems, she's actually writing bangers for Charlie XCX, Camila Cabello, Lainey.
No,
she just did a vocal feature for Kygo. She's an incredibly talented songwriter. Doesn't just do the sad girl stuff, but that seems to be the staple of her, her project and her solo stuff. So I would definitely keep your eyes peeled for her. I'm excited to see what she does.
Yeah, I had no idea she had the pedigree that she does.
I didn't either.
That's pretty.
Had no
cool.
idea.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what she has for a full length for sure. Because her sound definitely seems primed for a big breakout or a radio single or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, shout outs. These are going to be the albums that may have just missed the cut for album of the week, and mine is a surprise new album from Nas. It's got an album out called King's Disease. And I think this is a mostly strong Nas project. If you're into Nas, you're definitely going to enjoy this. The production is pretty great. Some beats are better than others. I wasn't a huge fan of most of the features. He leans on some newer guys to kind of update his sound, and I don't think it goes over very well. I think he is best heard on his kind of, 90s boom bap style, bread and butter. He's just great on that stuff. a lot of songs on here that are short and sweet, a lot of them without hooks. King's Disease, Ultra Black, Car Number 85, 27 Summers, and All Bad with Anderson .Paak is fucking great. The Cure, also a great track. The Definition is a strange song because he has a song on here called King's Disease, which is obviously in reference to the album's title and what the album is relatively about, which is King's Disease, if you're unfamiliar, is referring to gout. Or like rich man's disease, I think it's also referred to as. And the Definition, the song not named King Disease, has an outro telling you about what King's Disease actually is and how to combat it. And it's very strange. It has nothing to do with lyrically what the Definition is about. So I'm not entirely sure what he was thinking in tacking it on to the end of the Definition.
He wants us to know not to let the milkshake come to the yard too often.
Yeah, I guess so. But I learned that cherry juice is a good way to combat gout, I guess. So that's good. But yeah, if you like Nas, definitely check it out. I don't know if you guys gave it a listen, but I think both of you would probably enjoy it pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. Like, I don't know, nothing that quite stood out to me, but it's not bad in any means.
Yeah, it's not groundbreaking. It is an enjoyable hip hop record. And Billy, do you want to tell us about this pronounceable nightmare?
Yeah, so band names that just make it impossible to figure out how to pronounce. I try to avoid, but here I am, 15 articles later, finally figured out how to correctly pronounce Kllo. It's as simple as it would seem. They're called Kllo. They're an output out of two cousins from Melbourne. And fun fact, both my shout out and my new release, they're both from Melbourne. That's kind of weird. But they released a new EP, or new LP, I should say, called Maybe We Could. They actually broke up back in like 2018 after they released a well-received album in 2017 and took 2 trips around the world touring, but cited burnout and just like a loss of like musical direction. Yeah. They didn't know what they wanted to do, so they each went and tried to do their own solo projects. Didn't quite take off. They ended up getting back together to produce this album, which trades in their older like electropop sounds for lo-fi kind of soft house littered with like hip hop style beats and R&B vocals. I really like the hazy vocals throughout. Her vocals are just super, super relaxing and chilling. And then the production is really solid too. Like I said, it's kind of got this like hip hop style that tends to lean towards house, which is just a cool blend. The album kind of starts off with like a couple of statement tracks, which actually aren't my favorite. And then after that, it really starts to flow and kind of get into a groove that I really fell into. So, I mean, it was enjoyable.
Yeah. The production I think is really awesome. It's like a neat marriage between like UK dance music a la like Burial or like you kept saying house. So I kind of thought Disclosure, it's obviously not as bombastic or like danceable, but it has that like kind of old school house element to it.
Yeah, for sure.
With the 90s R&B, soul vocals that are just really, really nice. So
for sure.
Yeah, they did a good job. Good job.
Not too bad.
All right, Paul, do you want to tell us about the other Duckwrth that exists in the world?
There's more than one?
Yeah, it's funny because I think he had a record come out last year, I think, or maybe the year before that. And when you put this on the list, I was like, oh, like, does Kendrick Lamar have a new like side project out? Because his real name is Kendrick Lamar Duckwrth. So,
that's weird.
Yeah, I had always thought that it was referencing Kendrick Lamar, but it is most definitely not. Anyway.
No, but I'm kind of new to the party on Duckwrth. Came out with a album called SuperGood, in one word. And I have a hard time characterizing it. It's definitely hip-hop adjacent. There's some good verses on it. But it's almost at its core more of like a R&B, pop, dance album in places. But I can't even put it under that blanket because there's all kinds of weird shifts in rhythmic feel that I really love. But did anyone else get a chance to listen to it?
I did. And the production is just amazing. like super dancey, super funky, very sexy. Kind of reminds me of Kaytranada a little bit. In feel.
I like it.
But yeah, he's great. This is a really enjoyable record for sure.
Yeah, but even the track titles, like most of my playlists wouldn't have song titles like Kiss You Right Now, but it's full of bangers. Check it out. Super Good by Duckwrth.
All right. Albums of the week. Best albums we've heard all week. And I cannot wait to hear what Billy's got to say about mine. I have a new favorite album, and it is called SugarEgg by a band called Bully. Bully, if you're not familiar, is a very grungy kind of post-punk / emo band that is fronted by a very aggressive female vocalist, akin to like Illuminati Hotties or like Mannequin Pussy. The guitars are loud and busy. They have a lot of like cool different riffs and lead parts, and they're super washed out with lots of reverb and lots of distortion. Alicia, the front woman, just channels this amazing rawness in her vocals that I can kind of be a turnoff for some, but I just gel with it so much. It kind of reminds me of Kurt Cobain. She conveys that similar, like, I just don't give a fuck about how this sounds to you. Like, I'm getting out my emotions, and it just sounds fucking awesome. And I hear, an argument against the sameness of the record, but I think it's just super enjoyable, and it's not really long that it's, really wears on me. So if you're into grungy stuff, definitely give this a listen. Billy, did you get a chance?
Yeah. Of course. This was also, much like last week, was going to be my album of the week this week until you swept it right out from underneath of me. But that kind of motivated me into a different path, and we'll talk about that soon. But fun fact, Bully is actually now a solo project.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so the two of the band members left after that last album, and then after like consulting with her therapist, she decided to get rid of the last member, and it's now a solo project, which is super cool. And I just, it's just that next level. Like, Losing was so good, but this just really cleans it up around the edges, and it's just like way more polished in my opinion. She trades in a lot of the raw, like, screaming vocals for a little bit more of a toned back sound, but there's definitely still that like punk and aggressive vibe to it. But it still has, I would say, more of like a pop punk sound in this album. Just a dusting of it. But to me, it was just a little bit more enjoyable in that sense. I really enjoyed it. I think it was super cool. A lot of the stuff she talks about on the record, super cool, opening up about her mental health and stuff like that. And then I was reading a cool article interview she did, where she talked about like what she had done during quarantine. And so it turns out she actually completed a foster care training program, and she's planning to open her spare bedroom up in her apartment to host like foster children on their first couple of nights of like being in the system, which is just a super unique and cool thing for a person to do. That's like, I'm not touring right now. Like, let me do something cool and productive. And like, I can't imagine something that's much more productive than that. So just super cool. She seems super cool. And the album is, like I said, it's awesome. Quite the banger.
It is. Yeah, it is definitely a banger for sure. All right. Do you want to tell us about your pick, Billy?
Yeah. So like I said, I was all in on Bully. It's going to be my album of the week. I was really invested into it. You kind of swept that right out from under me. And so I was like, well, I don't want to, I was going to double up, but one of my favorite older bands, Cut Copy, had put out a new album. I thought it was going to be trash. I was like, wasn't really invested in it. But since you'd picked Bully, I was like, let me listen to it. Let me see if it's worth talking about. It is worth talking about. It's called Freeze Melt. And just calling it now, probably my album of the year. Probably.
What?
Out of this dark horse, out of nowhere, out of nothing, out of pure chance. I even gave it a shot. And it's so good. Like, I used to listen to early Cut Copy, they've been around for like 20 years now. So listening to them probably like 10, 12 years ago. They were more into that like Melbourne, like kind of like summer pop, electro, synth kind of vibe. And it's just kind of slowly declined over the years, in my opinion. But the main dude had actually made the move from Melbourne to Copenhagen. And weirdly enough, like you can totally hear it in the sound and the vibe of this album. It's patient and it flows and it builds and it descends, and it's just got this great ride along factor to it. It's only 8 songs, but some of the songs are a little bit more lengthy. They can reach 5 minutes or so, but it's like I said, it's just patient and it takes you on this nice ride. Lyrically, vocally, it's just smooth and just hits all the marks for me. If you listen to like Stop Horizon, that's like the definition of sound I love. It's got so much different texture to it. It's got a great vocal hook, but it takes a nice build to get there. There's just so many different aspects just in that one song alone. And all 8 songs are like that. It's short and cohesive, but everything builds and takes a new step, and it sounds super analog and really cool synths and really well produced. And I couldn't have been more surprised, one, and then now just can't stop hyping it up enough.
So I need you to go along with me for this ride. Okay. It's a short one.
Okay.
I couldn't help but feel like this record specifically, because I've heard a Cut Copy record a long time ago. And I couldn't tell you what it was about, but this one specifically, I think sounds like a marriage between Holy Ghost and Tourist.
I will 100% give that to you.
Hell yeah. Cool.
And are they 2 of my favorite bands? Of course. So it only makes sense that this makes sense, but absolutely. I definitely got a ton of Holy Ghost vibes when I was listening to it.
Especially when you bring up the analog synth bit, like it has that all over this.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, it was, I can't imagine anything in the next couple of months is going to come in and take that from them.
Damn.
That's
an aggressive pick.
I'm sold on it. And I will say it's kind of a moodier album. Like, it's not something to get hyped for, or not something that's going to like, something to necessarily like work out to or anything like that. It does maybe take a time and place to listen to it and get that right emotive feel. But man, I between last week and this week, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like 1 and 2, just taking it away between the Japanese house and this.
Well, we're getting pretty close to that time frame, so you're gonna have to come to a decision very soon.
Absolutely.
If you're curious about the singles and albums we talked about today, and even the ones we didn't, there is a playlist on the site containing all the singles and the best tracks from this week's albums. That site is bliss.house, bliss.haus. Please check out that playlist.
We didn't even talk about the new Howdy track.
Oh, there's a new Howdy track.
There's a new Howdy track.
Damn.
That's a little pop. It's a little poppy. I'm interested to see what you think.
Okay. I'll have to check that out. I know I heard about the new Holy Fawn track. People were buzzing about that.
Yeah, it's like a remix of an older song, or like a remake of an older song.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it's good. The new Floor track is really good.
Okay.
Stablemate, they're like kind of this new emo kind of staple. That's apparently going to get some buzz, so that's on there.
Good to know. The Mountain Goats have a new track, and they have a new album. Not super impressed by the track, but I'm kind of hoping that the album is better. So, anyways, please go listen to that. Check us out on all the places podcasts are listened to, like, subscribe, follow, etc. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I love each and every one of you. Please check out the website. That is bliss.house, bliss.haus. And as always, thanks for coming along for the ride.
You're so generous with your love. I'm jealous.
He's having a bully day. Are you having a bully day?